If you've already been to Tokyo, you've probably seen all the main attractions, and now you want something different. Well, here is 20 things in and around Tokyo that you've probably never heard of, all accessible in a day trip or less with public transport. This video is sponsored by Tokyo Tourism, who suggested most of these locations, but I'm only including ones that I personally approve of. Kicking off the list, we've got a place that I've been to a couple times now in different seasons, and it's absolutely beautiful, and that is Togakushi Shrine. This place is stunning. Just the trees and the vibes, and in all weather it's gonna look amazing, and in different seasons completely different, but so magical. There's a bus that can drop you off at any of the main points along the way, or you can follow my suggestion, which is to get off at Hokoshi bus stop, and then there's like a 3-hour mini pilgrimage kind of hike that is just so beautiful, and it visits the 5 main shrines of Togakushi. In winter the hike won't be accessible though, because there's just way too much snow, but you can still get off the bus at any of the stops along the way, especially the first one and the last one. I highly recommend them. But the final one, in winter, again, don't go past the cedar corridor because there'll just be too much snow. You won't be able to access the last shrine, but the corridor itself is absolutely beautiful, and as a bonus, there'll be nobody else there. To get here, catch a train to Nagano Station, and from there, catch a bus for about 1 hour to Hokoshi bus stop. Also, this is in my travel guide. Okay, next up we have Zenkoji and its surrounding area. This one is also right next to Nagano Station, so you could bundle it together with the Togakushi hike, or you could just do it separately on its own. This temple is massive and really beautiful. There's actually like a number of different things to see like in the area around it. The thing that I really love is this lined path all the way down towards the temple, and there's heaps of all these really cute, really interesting little shops and restaurants. The one that comes to mind in particular is a shop where you can make your own Japanese shichimi, like hot pepper, powder. You get to choose all the different flavors that you like and then put it together with the right ratios and everything, and then you get to take home your own personalized souvenir hot pepper. I really love this experience, like surprisingly loved it, and it was super affordable as well. I think it only cost me like 800 yen or something. And the other interesting thing that we did was we ate some shojin ryori, which if you don't already know, this is a Japanese monk's cuisine. Very traditional, and there's a bunch of rules that they need to follow when they make it. Like everything has to have at least like 5 different colors and 5 different flavors. Honestly, I thought I knew what kind of food we would be eating, but it blew away all of my expectations, and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend this to everyone, even if you're not vegan or vegetarian. Oh yes, it's traditionally vegan cuisine. I should have mentioned that. Even if you're not vegan, it's so tasty and so unique, and I highly recommend this also. To get here, just take a bus from Nagano Station about 14 minutes to Zenkoji Kita bus stop. So this next location is one that it feels and sounds totally inauthentic. It sounds like one of those like, whoa, crazy Japan tourist traps, but it's actually 100% real. This is Val's Bar, and simply put, it is run by monks. They're real practicing monks. That's a real shrine in the corner, and they're serving you real alcoholic drinks. The drinks themselves are really tasty, quite unique, really fun names as well in the menu, and the food that they serve, like the bar snacks and stuff, that is all shojin ryori, which I just talked about. That's the traditional monk's cuisine. A couple of times throughout the night, they'll host like this mini Buddhism sermon in Japanese and in English, and they'll also invite you to partake in chanting the sutra. Overall, it's just a really fun, really wholesome experience, and it's really easy to get to as well. You just need to catch the train to Yotsuya Sanchome Station right in Tokyo, and it's like a 5-minute walk from there. Next up, we have one of the coolest and most fun experiences I've probably ever had in Japan, and that is something called yabusame. So back in the Kamakura period, they had this kind of archery on horseback that was used as training for the samurai, and it's actually still practiced today at places like Canadian Camp Yatsugatake, which is where we went for our experience. So basically, you start off with a lesson on how to shoot the bows, and then a quick lesson on how to ride the horse, and then you get to try them together. Honestly, I just felt like a badass. It was quite challenging, like especially maneuvering the bow and your fingers and getting the fingers out of the way and all of that, but I never in my life thought that I'd get to experience archery on horseback. It was very cool. They'll tailor the experience to you, so whether you're like a professional rider or an absolute beginner rider, they'll choose the right horse for you, and they cater all of their teaching towards your level as well. So even if you're an absolute beginner, you'll still have a really great time. It'll cost 12,000 yen for the lesson, plus you must have purchased your own travel insurance insurance from your home country, and an additional 4,400 yen for the traditional attire, which you don't have to wear, but the option is there if you want to. To get there, just catch the limited express train to Kobuchizawa station, and then the club will send a private car to come and pick you up. Alternatively, you can rent a bike from the station and use that to ride to the club, because if you do that, then from there, there's a bunch of other things in the area that you can see. So we went to the Keith Haring Museum. There's like a lot of really famous architecture in the area as well. We went to like a little brewery that had sorry, it's really hard to say. Brewery that have really delicious drinks. So if you rent a bike, then you get to see all of that in the same area. So yeah, it's up to you. Depends what you want to do with your day. Also, if you just so happen to be driving, there is 3 absolutely amazing spots that I can't not recommend. They're called Minami Inaga Lake is the first one, and it's like the most beautiful autumn leaves lake, and there's freaking swans swimming in it. It's so beautiful, but there's no public transport there, unfortunately. The other one is called Sakura Wanitsuka, and this is basically just like a photo location. You can't really do much here, but it's like what a photo. And the last one is called Yamataka Jindai Zakura, and this is a place that has the oldest cherry blossom tree in the world. Question mark, because no one really knows, but they say it's about 2,500 years old, which is insane. And they also have a cherry blossom tree where they sent the seeds to space, and then it came back and it started mutating, and I've made a whole video about it. Oh my gosh, there's so much to see in this area. But yeah, again, like these ones are a little trickier to get to, so only if you're driving, but I've got so many recommendations. Oh, I could keep going. From Kobuchizawa, you're going to need to take the train back to Tachikawa Station anyway, so why not stay at the most beautiful hotel I've ever stayed at in Japan. Sorano Hotel only opened a couple of years ago, and it is a beautiful modern take on the Japanese Zen kind of architecture, but the real standout feature here is the infinity pool on the top floor. The weather was kind of average when we were here, but on a clear day, you can see Mt Fuji, even in winter, because the pool is heated. It's a 10-minute walk from Tachikawa Station, and the price to stay is usually around 42,900 yen, but it can get a lot cheaper in the off-season. Unfortunately, there's an additional 2,000 yen to use the rooftop pool, but if you factor that into the price, then it makes it a lot easier to stomach. Around the hotel, there's a bunch of like really nice shops and restaurants, and also there is a cinema that is doing something there that I have never seen before. They have something that's called explosive sound, and sometimes they'll actually get the sound designer from the movie itself that will come into the cinema and tweak the audio so that it sounds as close to the director's vision as possible. The movie we watched was Civil War, and it was so intense, so intense. Again, this is around a 10-minute walk from Tachikawa Station, and tickets are around 2,000 yen each, although not every movie has the explosive sound, so just double check that when you make a reservation on the website. All of the applicable links are in the description down below. Do you like Mt Fuji? Well, so do I. I don't like hiking Mt Fuji though, because it's kind of boring. But I highly recommend hiking a mountain with a view of Mt Fuji, and this one is probably the most easily accessible, the most doable within a day trip of Tokyo, and that is Mount Ishiwari. This mountain is just behind Lake Yamanaka, and the views of Mount Fuji are unreal. It is a point-to-point 8 to 10 kilometers depending where you finish hike, and there's only about 400 meters elevation gain, and it will take most people between 4 to 5 hours without any breaks. Most people start their hike at Yamanaka-ko Hirano bus stop, and is accessible with a direct bus from Shinjuku that will cost you 2,350 yen and take 2 hours and 24 minutes. From there, the hike starts with a buttload of stairs and then just like a regular incline. It'll usually take you about an hour to get to the top of Mount Ishiwari. From there, some people will turn around and go back the same way, but I highly recommend you keep going down to Mount Hirao and then Mount Ohira, because they've just got the most vast, amazing, uninterrupted views of Mount Fuji that you'll ever see. And then to get down from here, you can go down a number of different ways, but it doesn't really matter because you'll probably finish somewhere near the lake, and then there'll be a bus that can pick you up along the lake anyway. Most people will catch the bus to Kawaguchiko Station and then take the train back to Tokyo, but it really depends on where you're going next. Some parts are pretty steep going up and down, so just be cautious of that. But overall, I think even if you're a beginner hiker, as long as you've got a reasonable level of fitness, you'll be totally fine. But please take caution. Make sure you've got grippy shoes, you're bringing a liter of water. If the weather is bad, don't go. All of your basic hiking safety requirements, please take caution, especially in winter because there might be snow. But overall, have fun, be safe, and don't forget your camera. Next is an underrated, I'm going to say underappreciated area of the city of Tokyo, and that is Kanda Jinbo Jimbocho area. They have a long history of a lot of universities and schools being nearby, so there is a lot of secondhand books here. Some are in English, most are in Japanese, but even if you can't read the Japanese, it's kind of just interesting to look through. Some of them have lived through multiple wars and they're still held together. It's wild. This area is also really famous for new and secondhand sports gear, so now you know where to go if you forgot to bring your goggles. In the area, we checked out two very, very interesting cafes and restaurants. The first one is called Asobi Cafe, and this is like a board game cafe, essentially. Heaps of games, a lot of them are in English, but the thing that's really interesting is that if all of the seats are taken up already, you can just request to join somebody else's group. So yeah, if you go here, you might end up walking away with some new friends. And the second place is something unlike any other experience I've ever had in my life. This is Vegetable Izakaya Genki. I had no idea what we were going to walk into, so if you can keep it a surprise from your friends, I highly recommend that. This place is wild. It's just like maximalism doesn't even begin to describe. All of the decorations everywhere, from the seats that you sit on to the little squeaky toy that you have to squeak to get his attention. Even the people who are working there, they're decked head to toe. Afterwards, they come out and will say goodbye to you personally. It was a very, very interesting experience. The food was good, but you're not there for the food, clearly. They do have a lot of vegan options, which is great. I'd say overall it's a little expensive for the food, but very cheap for the experience that you get. 10 out of 10, can't recommend this place enough. To get here, just go to Kanda or Jimbocho Station. So next up, we have a very relaxing, very chill day on the west side of Tokyo, and that is at Jindaiji and the Botanical Gardens. So Jindaiji sets itself apart in its very non-touristy, very chill vibe. Plus, they also have something called a goma daki ritual. And this is where you write down your wish onto a plank of wood. You give it to a monk, and then they'll take it, they pray over it, they burn it, and then they chant. It's very interesting, very unique experience. I wasn't allowed to film it, but it's almost like meditative just to sit and listen to them. It's on twice a day, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., and at least one person has to buy the little wooden plank if you want to be involved, or you can just stand outside and watch for free. Overall, it's just a really unique experience. Also in the area, there's a bunch of little shops and restaurants. They're really famous for wasabi and soba, which was delicious. And just around the corner, we have the Jindaiji Botanical Gardens. This is a huge garden. I'm shocked that I hadn't heard of it before, but they've got a variety of probably the largest collection of the most interesting, unique, and sometimes rare flora from all around the world. And it's only 500 yen for entry. We were there in summer, so the main thing was the rose garden, but probably if you come in spring, that will be the best time. It's always changing, really seasonal dependent. But when we were there, they had a bonsai exhibition, which was really, really cool. I love bonsai. But yeah, it's just a really lovely, relaxing area, especially if you want to get away from the crowds, away from people. You'll have so much space to yourself here. To get to Jindaiji, there's a number of different ways, but it usually always involves one train and one bus. I think we caught the train to Chofu Station, and then from there, we took a bus to Jindaiji. And, overall, it's about an hour from Tokyo Station. And finally, we've got a beautiful, relaxing, naturist retreat just 2 hours away from Tokyo at a place called Satellog. Japan, I think, is really going through a sauna boom at the moment. It's my third sauna of the month, but this is definitely the most beautiful. It's in a brand new facility, and they've thought of absolutely everything that you could possibly need to make your experience worthwhile. They give you a little wellness shot before, you get full use of the sauna, got a cold plunge with water directly from the river. There's places to relax. They give you the poncho and the hat, and you get a drink afterwards as well, and then shower and all the amenities. Everything you could need, it's all provided there. I don't know, I think it was something about the design of the building and the nature around the area. It just made it genuinely felt very relaxed afterwards, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a little on the expensive side because it's a luxury destination. For 2 people, it'll cost you 22,000 yen for the half-day experience, or for the full day, it'll be 44,000 yen. You can add extra people, which will make it a bit cheaper, depending on how many people there are. You may need to figure that out on their website. Definitely, I would save it more for a special occasion or a romantic getaway or something like that. From Tachikawa Station, take 2 trains, 1 hour and 25 minutes to Kodi Station, and then from there, it's a 14-minute walk to Satellog. All of the details and everything are in the description down below. And that's it. That is my list of 20 things in and around Tokyo you've probably never heard of. have you ever heard of these places? Because I had never heard of them before making this video, so I hope that they're new and interesting and exciting to you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Yeah, and thank you so much to TCVB, Tokyo Tourism, for sponsoring this video. I had a really great time, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Go follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.